to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star Sports podcast sponsored by First Federal Bank. It's Thursday, April 21st, and I'm Blair Kirkhoff. Today's show focuses on the Missouri Tigers. The Caravan rolled through town on Wednesday. That's an event where coaches and athletic officials gather and mingle with fans. The stop occurred at Chicken and Pickle in Overland Park. Yes, Missouri crossed the state line for this occasion. Today you'll hear from new basketball coach Dennis Gates, and after a break from Eli Drinkwitz, about to begin his third season as the football coach. They chatted about some of the new developments in college sports like name, image, and likeness, and the transfer portal. They also talked about their teams and the upcoming season. Before we get to the coaches, I sat down with Star columnists Vahe, Gregorian, and Sam McDowell about their impressions of the event. Let's get started.
Well, I'm sure we'll get interrupted again and several times while we're talking, but that's what happens when you're in a discussion with Vahe.
I'm focused on you exclusively.
So he
My eyes aren't wandering.
So he says now, and we'll see. Okay, so we're standing in Chicken and Pickle in Overland Park. It's only a couple miles from my house. It's the first time I've ever been here.
That's familiar. It's back to Big O Tires.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, not since the Big O Tires days. I hate to give them a plug.
Even the Missouri Tigers somehow managed to come within a couple miles of Blair's house.
It's a fun event. I remember you and I did this a couple years ago when it was in North Kansas City pre-COVID, right? You get to talk to the coaches. Eli Drinkwitz was here, Dennis Gates, Robin Pinchton, and of course Desiree Reed-Francois, the athletic director. You guys had some good sit-down time I saw with Eli Drinkwitz. Let's start with him. Coming off his best recruiting class, Missouri's best recruiting class ever, right? 15 or 16, something like that. Top 15 in the country. He's got Luther Burden, the third, coming in, the 5-star recruit. What were your impressions of Eli Drinkwitz here?
Well, one thing I'll just say real quick is just that we can't do this without acknowledging we're in Kansas, and that he seemed deeply troubled by that in some ways. And I think it was Eli that brought up that Norm Stewart liked to say he never spent any money in Kansas. And that, by the way, that story's not really true about Norm. But anyway, let's acknowledge that first, that we're in the state. Sam McDowell can speak to this better, I think, in a lot of ways, because Sam and Eli kind of got talking a lot about NIL and transfer portal in a few different ways, and that's clearly very much on his mind. I mean, he's talking about it being a seismic shift in the nature of the game, and I'd be curious what your impressions were, how he looked at it, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the difference in the two coaches, the way they treat the transfer portal is drastic, but I think it should be, because in basketball, you can get guys in and make an impact pretty immediately. In football, there's a lot of schematical stuff that a player has to learn before you feel comfortable enough to put him onto the field. And so the way the transfer portal is working in football, I think, is a much more drastic change than what these basketball coaches are used to implementing onto their roster. And I think he feels that. And I thought the most interesting thing he said was, I asked him, do you feel like now you have to recruit your own players? And he said, every day. So it's not just getting guys in. You've got to keep your guys here somehow. And I thought we just talked to a guy who's understanding the new reality of that.
What's interesting about you saying that is just fresh on my mind is that you asked, I think you asked Dennis Gates something along those lines, or at least evoked the answer that he says, no, I don't have to coach them differently now. Once they're in, I still have to do that the same way. But I think this is a panel discussion that could be had about all these nuances.
No doubt about it. Look, this is a fan engagement event, right? There are going to be a couple hundred, 300-400 people here tonight.
We're engaging with them right now.
Yes, we are. As you hear
in real time.
You hear the tables and the chairs move behind us, but
we said we had them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We said we had Vahe's time. We do not.
Clearly not. That's all right, Sam. We'll conduct this.
I'm here.
I think I've said this before, and it continues to be true, that I can't think of a fan base that needs something to celebrate as much as Missouri's fan base does. And they are loyal. They're great fans. They're here tonight just to see see Trim of the Tiger out there, but to see the coaches, the athletic directors, they forever support their school.
Well, and to your point, I think it was 7 or 8 years ago when you said that about they really need something to celebrate, and there hasn't been too much. One thing that's kind of interesting to me, they've taken this caravan stuff to a new tier this year. At least as I understand it, they're going to about 26 spots. They think they're going to come within 30 miles of 90% of the Missouri fan base and go to Chicago and Dallas. So this is a big outreach, and more so than they've done before, and good on them. I think it's a great chance for the Missouri fan to really connect.
Well, it's a recognition that they've lost the fan to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because it's been pretty brutal to be a Missouri fan for the last decade. So we've seen it in attendance numbers for both football and basketball, and I just think this is an acknowledgement that you're going to have to go the extra mile to get those fans back, but it all comes back to the central theme, which is you got to win. I mean, the way to get fans back in the stands is you got to win games.
Listen, Missouri asks its fans from St. Louis and Kansas City to drive a couple hours, every weekend for football, midweek evening games for basketball. Yeah, I think it's fair and appropriate that the Missouri coaches travel to where the fans are, right? And you're right. Desiree was telling us that they were in West Plains earlier, Memphis, Missouri up in the northeast corner, Kansas City, St. Louis back-to-back nights. Are going to Jefferson City tomorrow. So good on Missouri for doing this. So hey, thanks Vahe, Sam, McDowell, and we're going to take a break. And when we come back, you will hear from Dennis Gates, a new Missouri basketball coach.
Buying your first home is a huge milestone, but the journey there can be confusing. First Federal Bank of Kansas City is here to make it simple. After nearly a century of serving the KC community, our loan advisors have experience in every type of housing market. With a short phone call, we can give you a free rate quote and talk through loan options. No pressure, no obligation. The road to home ownership can be simple with First Federal Bank. Get started with a free quote at ffbkc.com/homes. First Federal Bank of Kansas City, because banking is personal. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
100 days type thing on this job. I mean, you come in and sit down at your desk and you're like, okay, this is where I start. I mean, how do you, what's step one the minute you started the job?
Step one is not to go to sleep. Step two is leave your ringer on. Step three is to make sure you have phone service. But ultimately, man, you have to write everything down and make sure you don't skip out, or you got to make sure you dot I's, cross T's. You can't do it alone. You have to sift information through different sources, and my mentor Leonard Hamilton is a source. The staff that I've hired thus far has been a source. Associate head coach Charlton Young and assistant coach Dickie Nutt. Those guys have been head coaches before. This is the second rotation for me. And what I've done is look back at those notes that took place at Cleveland State. In August 1st, I was hired. In 2 weeks, I had to sign 8 players and hire a staff of 7. So sometimes in memory, you can't pull back what took place, so you have to see what you've written down. And those same things are happening. It's sort of a deja vu moment. And for me, it's just making sure we bring the correct young men together that I know, our core values stand out true to. And at some point, we'll have them all here on campus to be able to form our team and hopefully lead us to some victories.
Knowing you could do all that on August 1st in that last job, does that make this like, even though you had to reread the notes, I mean, it makes you know you can figure it out?
I tell everyone this. In anticipation, everyone was waiting to see who I was going to hire. And I think I said this yesterday. The first offer I gave, only one person have turned me down right now, and that's been Norm Stewart. I offered him a spot back on the bench. One day he called me literally 3 times. We were playing phone tag. I said, Coach, you must want a job. Are you itching? Are you itching right now? And, we both laughed, and he can't wait to get back. I can't wait to see him and just to continue to pick his brain. And those things are the things that organically happens when you're building a program, and you have to respect those that have come before you. whether it's Konzo, whether it's Kim, whomever it is, Anderson, but also, hey, you have to even talk to those assistant coaches who we are all in contact with because we're sitting in the same gyms anyway, right? You ask those little tidbits, or even you read a text message of inspiration that says, good luck, you'll do great. Those things matter during this time, and it's something that I can always go back and look at.
That sounds like a text that maybe Konzo might have sent you. Have you had contact with him?
Yeah, I've talked to. Now you have to understand this: is our coaching. This profession is not just 6 degrees. I would say 3 degrees of separation. I have respect for Konzo. There's no doubt about it. His career, he coached at my alma mater at Cal Berkeley. So I've watched his career from afar, but also the tree he's come from. Gene Cady, come on now. The Gene Cady tree is Bruce Weber, and you even look at Matt Painter and all those guys. They have done a tremendous job, but to be where we are and to get this program where I want to get it to, I have to do my research. I have to data collect. And those are the things I'm not afraid to say. But more importantly, I'm humble enough to reach out to whether it's been assistants on Konzo's staff or even Konzo himself. Those things, for us to get to where we want to go, I need information. I need the data so that we can get there.
Obviously, you've done well in the transfer portal without asking.
Have we?
Without asking you to give away any secret sauce.
Secrets? Is there such thing?
Is there a different way you recruit, though, these kids that have been in college already, as opposed to trying to recruit the high school kids?
No, we have to just understand why they're in the portal, right? And whenever you're looking at a young man that's in the portal, you know that their career has been cut down somehow, some way. Whether they have 3, 2, and the majority of them will have 1. You have to understand that they may come, with a little bit of healing that needs to take place, where they've experienced some type of trauma. They may have experienced some type of failure. They may have experienced some type of basketball, underachieving. You're taking that kid and you're hopefully rebuilding. I think the one coach that has done a tremendous job, and I've tried to look at, was Steve Forbes, when he took Alondes Williams from Oklahoma. That kid became the ACC Player of the Year in one season. Those are the things that I look at. That's the data I like to collect, and hopefully one of these young men does just that, become Conference Player of the Year. And it's capable, it's possible, and I think when it comes down to the right system, it'll be an exciting style of play that can bring the best out of these young people.
Even if you don't recruit them differently, you do have to probably coach them, at least the mentality a little bit differently, right?
You have to do what?
Coach differently. The mentality aspect.
No, you don't have to coach differently.
Okay.
They choose you just as much as you choose them. So they're coming back in this recruiting with different sort of mindset, but experience, right, and wisdom. So they know what to avoid. They know how to do more research, and they know how to avoid certain pitfalls. All don't come away with the wisdom that some do. I'm looking specifically at those who also recruit us, who believes in the words across our chest, who believes in the SEC, who believes in themselves as potential guys that can do the things that I expect from my student athletes, right? And I think we have some high character young men. You look at the stats, we have some unbelievable stats that I thought didn't exist in the stat sheet last season, if we all looked at it, right? You look at the positive assist to turnover ratios that we've been able to recruit in the program in our 2 leading positions. You look at the shooting percentages that we're trying to address. The only thing I'm missing, and let me know if you guys find one, a 7-foot something walking around somewhere in the parking lot ready to block some shots, right? That's what's next on my agenda.
Your peers in football have portrayed this to be the sky is falling in the transfer portal. Basketball has lived with this for years. Before the portal, I think 40% of players were transferring before the end of their sophomore year. Is basketball better equipped for this?
Yeah, it's two different sports and 2 different numbers. I think, for us, it takes 1 or 2 players to make a big time difference. In football, you have to talk to Coach Drink. I think it takes a little bit more. a lot more, right? I think we can find that one player in the portal that can change our whole season. They may have to find a couple. I truly believe that. The games are different, the calendar is different, but more importantly, man, these young people, they get an opportunity to do something, and that's reset their careers and get it back on track, because something has happened where maybe they've gotten under-evaluated and they want to play at a higher level, but they want to be closer to their dreams and aspirations. And in my eyes, the SEC, you have the NBA, the SEC, the G League, and then some other conferences below. This is a tough conference, guys, and it is equipped with some great coaches, and I'm excited to represent Mizzou in the SEC.
Your fans were freaking out that Missouri didn't have a point guard.
You said they were freaking out?
Freaking out.
Who told you that?
Missouri fans all over the place. But now you got a couple of point guards.
I'll tell you this. I love our fans because they're some basketball-educated people. And when I was recruited by Norm, he sold and told me some things, but I told him, Norm, you undersold what Mizzou was. Their fans, they are a unbelievable, tradition-rich, basketball-educated group of people. They know their basketball, and you have done a tremendous job. And there is no doubt in my mind the light shines brighter on this basketball program because of what Norm has done, what he's accomplished, and those players that have come and played for him. But more importantly, the fans that sat in those seats each and every night, making Mizzou Arena, the Hearn Center, one of the toughest places to play. And that's what we want to recreate. We want to recreate a tough basketball atmosphere, home court advantage.
Norm, remember your recruitment?
What's that?
Did Norm remember your recruitment?
Yeah, of course. I was in the same class as Keon Doolin and Clarence Gilbert, those guys. So class of 1998, and when I've reached back out to Keon and those guys, they were excited about the hire and what Desiree Reed-Francois, the opportunity that her and President Troy have given me. So I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening.
Saturday and then St. Louis and then back. What do these events like this mean for you all?
Recruiting is kind of the lifeblood of our program, and I think everybody kind of pushes recruiting towards recruiting student athletes. But man, recruiting is everybody. It's recruiting donors. It's recruiting season tickets holders. It's recruiting the entire fan base to join in our mission, which is to compete in the SEC. And for us, you can be a Chiefs fan, you can be a Royals fan, Cardinals fan, Blues fan, but we're all Tiger fans. We're all supporters of the black and gold because we represent this state. Every time we play on Saturdays, we represent the entire state. So it's important for us to get that message across to everybody.
Coach, Missouri was kind of AWOL from Kansas City for a long time because they leave the league. They're not always front of top of mind. They don't play basketball over here anymore in the tournament. But you've gotten back in. How have you gotten in, and how have you gotten these great players you've gotten?
I think it's about being intentional in the impact that you can make and the people that you're around. And for us, in order to be the best that we want to be, we have to recruit Kansas City. When you look back at the prime Coach Pinkel years, a large portion of that team was from this city, and some of the greats that have played for the black and gold are from this city. And so we got to continue to recruit this state, whether it's Kansas City, St. Louis, or rural Missouri. We have to recruit this state better than anywhere else. And really, it's got to be an inside-out approach. We're going to win first this state, and then that's going to impact us and propel us to win nationally. You look at the biggest stages of college football right now, and there's been players from our state playing for other teams, and we gotta reduce that in order for us to get to where we want to be, which is on that stage.
It seems like what you're saying is there are enough SEC quality players in the state and it's sort of in the Midwest region that you can call your recruiting base to fill a roster.
Yeah, I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. Again, like I alluded to, when you look at the biggest stages, whether it's the national championship in basketball or the playoff, college football playoff, there was a significant portion of those players from Midwest or from this state on those rosters. And in order for myself, Coach Gates, Coach Pennington, and the rest of our staff at the University of Missouri, our athletics department, we got to keep that talented player home. We got to encourage them to come play at the University of Missouri and build their brand here first.
Coach, two-part question. One, when did NIL become real for you? And two, beyond the football program, how much do you enter what is involved in the community for NIL benefits to your recruits?
Well, it became real for me probably this time last year when I was in the Capitol in Jefferson City, encouraging our legislature and governor to pass the bill to allow NIL. We were one of the first and one of the best in the country as far as giving our players and student athletes an opportunity to use their name, image, and likeness for benefit. As far as there's legalities as far as what I can and can't do, and so it's don't want to violate the state law, obviously, but that's the future of college athletics right now is NIL, and there's a lot of conversation about the whether or not it's been weaponized through recruiting and collectives and all this stuff, and I'm not here to weigh in on that. I'm here to say to our fans that we need to engage in NIL opportunities in order for us to encourage players to build their brands at home. So I think it's the new age of college football and college athletics, and we've got to embrace it.
On the transfer portal has obviously been a big topic of conversation for a year now or so, and there's so many guys go in and out of it. How do you measure if you're winning or losing in the portal? Is it just numbers of guys you have leave and come in, or I see rankings on how you guys have done in the portal? I mean, it can't even quantify it.
If college football had just adopted the portal minus NIL, it might have been manageable. If they would have just adopted NIL minus the portal, it might have been manageable. But both these combined have created, in my opinion, the biggest change in college sports probably in the last, I don't know, if y'all would have a better input on that than I do. At the end of all of this, the reality of it is it's still going to be determined. We're still a results-based business, right? The results of are we graduating our players and are we winning on the field? And so, whether or not you keep score on the scoreboard of transfer portal and all that, like at the end, to me, it's about are we winning football games? Are we creating a competitive roster? And are we graduating our players and giving them meaningful degrees and letting them be positive contributors to society? I'm not going to get caught up in who's winning and losing the portal. That stuff's not measurable. Who's measuring that? Somebody on Twitter? Somebody who's working on the internet? I mean, that's not truly measurable. That's still not objective. The objective is, do you win the football game? Do you win the basketball game? Do you win the baseball game? How are we competing on the gridirons? And so that, to me, is what you got to measure. I'll let fans weigh in on social media on whether or not we're winning or losing the portal.
You guys are here, this is in Kansas, right? And you were just here at Kaufman the other day, and I know you had some choice words about Kansas last night in St. Louis. You can repeat those here if you'd like. But you did meet Coach Leipold, or you probably met him before. I don't know.
No, that's the first time.
So you're playing K-State on the road this year. This is a hotbed recruiting area for them as well. Do you feel they're like your main competitors here in Kansas City for recruits, or is it just kind of everybody?
Man, the thing that makes college athletics and sports fun is the rivalry, right? You gotta, in my opinion, you got to continue to build it up and develop the passion of your fan base. And I think Coach Leipold is a great person. He's a really good football coach, and look forward to competing against him Look forward to competing against Kansas State this year. We're competing for everything, right? We're competing for recruits, we're competing for season ticket holders, we're competing for people to come, for students to come to our university. So that's the nature of what we do. What was the other part of the question?
Well, Kansas last night. You didn't see in St. Louis.
What are you baiting me?
You're trying to. Yes.
No, I mean, I am going to ask. Like Norm Stewart said, don't spend a dime in Kansas.
Right.
And now we're hosting home tour at Overland Park. I mean, God, his health has been bad. I'm hoping he survives seeing this tonight, you know?
Right.
Hey, Coach, Tyler Vahe will be drafted next week.
What do you know? How do you know that?
No, I'm pretty sure.
Holy cow.
I'm pretty sure.
All right, Miss Cleo.
What are they going to get with that guy from your couple years?
Well, they're getting the best running back in the SEC last year, and it's not really even close. A guy who's got great competitive spirit, hard worker, flexibility at the position to be able to be an every down back, to spread out, be a mismatch versus wide receivers, and they're getting a guy with low mileage. When you're talking about guys who are going to play in this league for a while, there's only a certain amount of hits that your body can handle, and he's got relatively low mileage as far as how much he's been utilized. And so his best football days are ahead of him. He's incredibly smart, intelligent, tough. I hope the Chiefs trade up and get him. Him and Nick Bolton together would be special.
Are there some guys on the roster that you looked at in the spring and you thought, okay, that's a kid that could emerge in the next year or two and be an all-conference player?
Yeah, there absolutely are, but I'm not going to tell you who they are because I'm not going to create undue expectations for our football players. They've got enough expectations on them. I just think that our team is working really hard to do what we're asking them to do, which is become a better version of themselves, not only on the football field, but as our team. And they're working really hard to do that.
How do you manage all the hype? Like every season there's so much hype around the season, the players, all that, but how do you kind of manage that without, getting too high, too low?
I go home and change diapers. I got a 2-year-old, so that keeps me humble. But I think expectations are what drives performance. So you want to create an expectation of performance. You want to create an expectation of how we want to perform and what we want to compete for every year. And you live up and down to the expectations that you set. I think realistic expectations for us are to compete in the SEC East, and that's what we're trying to do. In the past 2 seasons, we've continued to work to improve our roster. We need to continue to play better defense. We've got to have more out of the quarterback position than we did last year, and that's my challenge. That's what they pay me to do, is to get more results out of that, and that's what we're going to do.
You seem to like opening the season on a Thursday. Can you maybe tell why that's a benefit or why you like that so much?
Yeah, first off, I think it's a win-win for our program because we all know how important Lake of the Ozarks is to the state of Missouri, and we all know that everybody's going down there for Labor Day weekend. So instead of trying to compete against that, why don't we embrace that? I think also to get the exposure to be the first game to open up the season. I think it's a great opportunity. Our student body, our fans can come tailgate. Our students can have a great night celebrating the win, and if they choose to go to class the next day, that's up to them, or they can go to a 4-day weekend. Totally up to them there. I know the professors and the faculty senate's not going to like that answer, but that's probably realistic. I think our administration showed a commitment to our football program because, originally when this schedule was set, we had 6 home games and 6 away games, but they understand that in order for us to continue to promote our brand, we need 7 home games a year, and so they were able to negotiate that contract to get us a game. And then I think, again, trying to create we're all competing for dollars and entertainment value and eyes, and so instead of putting it against the Lake of the Ozarks parade, we'll go on a Thursday night.
Going back to recruiting just for a second, you're coming off the highest rated recruiting class in Missouri's history. What made Missouri such an easy sell for you?
For me or for them?
Well, for them, by you.
There wasn't anything easy about it. I think we're selling an opportunity, and I think they're believing in the vision of what we're trying to become. And it also helped that the best players that we signed, some of the best players that we signed were from the state. And you've always got a built-in advantage when they grew up Tiger fans. Like I said, you can be a Chiefs fan, Royals fan, Blues fan, or Cardinals fan, but at the end of the day, we all got to support the Tigers, and that's what we're going to continue to sell.
That'll do it for today. Big thanks to our sponsor, First Federal Bank. Randy Mason produced today's show with assistance from Monty Davis, Jeff Rosen, and Chris Pickett. Tip of the cap to Vahe, Gregorian, and Sam McDowell for the early conversation. Hey, you know where I'm going. Morning Sports Edition. Just finished it. 33 pages today. There's a Sam McDowell column on why the Chiefs shouldn't trade for Deebo Samuel, complete coverage of the Royals' victory over the Twins last night by Lynn Worthy, and a breakdown of Jay Wright's stunning decision to retire from Villanova. What did Bill Self have to say about that? Gary Bedore found out. Go to kansascity.com and the subscription tab for more information. Okay, we'll be back on Friday with another edition of SportsBeat KC.